My first night on call at the new hospital, I encountered my wife, Natalie Warren, who claimed to be on a business trip abroad. She lay on a gurney outside the delivery room, heavily pregnant, blood pooling beneath her. My hand was gripped tightly by a man kneeling at her side, his desperate pleas echoing in my ears. "Doctor, please, you have to save her." The nurse beside me handed him the surgical consent form. "We need a family member to sign before surgery. What's your relationship to the patient?" The man took the pen, his hands trembling as he signed. "She's my wife." My chest tightened at his words, my mind flashing back to a year ago, when Natalie had smiled as she handed me our marriage certificate. "Adrian, from today on, we're officially husband and wife." Sensing my shock, the man looked up with red-rimmed eyes, confusion written across his face. I quickly lowered my head, adjusting the mask on my face, and pushed open the operating room doors. "We'll do everything we can for the patient." But as for the relationship between Natalie and me, I think it had just been declared completely over. After a round of emergency treatment, Natalie's condition stabilized. A colleague beside me lowered her voice to gossip. "I heard these two ended up like this because they were too rough during sex." My hand slowed for a few seconds, my mind drifting to when Natalie proposed to me. "Adrian, marry me. For the rest of my life, except for you, I, Natalie, will never touch another man." "I'm sorry, Adrian. I accidentally got a gynecological condition. The doctor said we can't have sex. Just wait a bit longer." I believed her. I was now saving her soon-to-be-born child. So it wasn't about physical discomfort, it was simply because she didn't love me. The surgery ended smoothly. I held the newborn baby in my arms. When I opened the operating room door, the man waiting outside immediately stood and rushed over. "How's Natalie?" I looked at the man before me, recalling the name he'd signed on the consent form. Ethan Shaw. A complete stranger. Natalie had never mentioned him before. I handed him the baby and offered my congratulations. "Congratulations. The surgery went well. Mother and daughter are both safe." Ethan's tense expression visibly relaxed. He seemed about to say something more when Natalie's gurney was wheeled out from behind me. "Ethan." She lay on the bed, extremely weak. Ethan immediately brushed past me, rushing to her side. Natalie touched the baby with one hand and held Ethan's hand with the other. "Ethan, our baby looks so much like you. When she grows up, she'll be just as handsome as you." I clenched my fists. Elena Hayes had just finished surgery, and I'd just been transferred to this upper-level hospital. This wasn't the right time or place to tear away this facade. After regaining some strength, her gaze fell on me. "Thank you so much, doctor. May I ask your name?" Natalie didn't recognize me. I stared into her eyes, trying to find a trace of guilt. "My surname is Smith. Just call me Dr. Smith." Ethan quickly diverted her attention, and she didn't spare me another glance. As soon as I returned to the on-call room, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I slid to answer, and Natalie's voice came through. "Adrian, there's a sudden emergency at the company. I might not be able to come back for a while." My silence made Natalie misunderstand, thinking I was sulking, so she continued talking. "Be good. When I'm done here, I'll definitely make time for our honeymoon trip." Natalie, before she could finish, Ethan's call and the baby's crying sounded on the other end of the line. "Gotta go." Natalie hastily hung up the phone. I made a phone call. "Send me the marriage certificate from the study cabinet. And tell my dad that Natalie cheated. I want him to withdraw all financial support for Natalie starting now." According to the schedule, I was in charge of rounds next. I forced myself to gather my energy and picked up the record sheet. Standing at the door looking through the glass, I saw Natalie and Ethan squeezed together on a small single bed. She nestled in Ethan's arms, one hand gently patting his back. The knock made Natalie's eyes fly open. I put on my mask properly and pushed the door open. The night before she left on her business trip,